The government is not saying we want everybody to buy a home now. This is a little bit of a tweak in the system. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
You're watching the Hersh Condos digital experience. And here's your host, Mitch Parker.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 20 of the Hersh Condos digital experience. I'm your host, Mitch Parker, and I'm sitting here with Casey Burke, who is not only our Director of Operations here at Hersh Condos, but also a mortgage agent as well. Casey, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mitch.
Of course. So we are going to do essentially a quick breakdown of pre-qualifying for mortgage and then get into the stress test a little bit. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. So the biggest question I get when we're selling a condo is, why do I need to provide a mortgage pre-approval?
Well, I guess the biggest reason is it's part of the purchaser's obligation to the builder to fulfill their contract by providing one. And then also it's a safety net for the builder to make sure the purchaser is financially stable, to make sure they can close at closing.
Right, that makes sense. And so when somebody gets this pre-approval, is this guaranteeing that they're going to qualify for a mortgage on closing?
No. The pre-approval is usually good from anywhere from 30 to 120 days.
And then after that, it expires.
That's right. Then they have to go through the necessary steps to pre-qualify again.
Right. And so the other question I get is, what is the difference between, let's say, a pre-approval and a full approval on a mortgage?
Well, a pre-approval is when you fill out your application and you make sure that you qualify to get a mortgage. And actual approval is when you actually go through you actually are qualifying for a specific property.
Oh, okay. So essentially they have all the components there now to make a decision.
Right.
Okay. And when somebody's going to buy a pre-construction condo that maybe is only going to close in 3 years, at what point should they go back and see their bank to get the pre-approval? How long before closing, or is it before occupancy?
That's a good question, because there's a difference between occupancy and final closing. So you should go 3 months before occupancy, and you don't get your mortgage until you actually take your final closing. You have that occupancy period, and then you have final closing, but your mortgage doesn't kick in until you actually take final closing. That's when you have title to your property.
Interesting. Okay, and that's good. So you really need to, as closing gets close, or as occupancy gets close, make sure that you are on the ball with all this stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And one of the big things that it's, since 2017 is the stress test, right? And I think we've all seen like the headlines and the media's talked about it, but maybe for those of us who don't know or aren't familiar with it, what is the stress test?
Well, it's a set of rules to help consumers protect themselves if interest rates go up, to make sure that they still can make their payments.
So if I walk into, let's say, a bank now, and they're offering me a 3% mortgage, but they're now going to qualify me at what percent?
At 2% higher of their posted rate.
So 5%.
Exactly.
But they're not going to charge me 5%.
No, it's just to qualify you.
Okay, so I'll pay mortgage payments on 3%, but they want to make sure that if interest rates go to 5%, that I still qualify.
Exactly.
And that was the original stress test rules, right?
That's right.
And since then, I think there's going to be some changes to that. Is that correct?
That's right.
And when do these new changes come into effect?
As of April the 6th of this year.
April 6th, so soon, so less than a month from when we're shooting this.
Yeah.
And so now there's new changes coming. They've adapted the stress test a little bit, right?
Yes, exactly. They lowered the qualifying rate.
And this is not really like opening the floodgates per se. Like the government is not saying we want everybody to buy a home now. This is a little bit of a tweak in the system. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
And so if I'm getting a mortgage, I know originally I saw a stat, and just confirm if this is right. Originally, if I was getting a mortgage for $500,000, all of a sudden my purchasing power was reduced to $400,000, right?
Exactly.
So by about 20%?
Yes, exactly.
So it increases the purchasing power a bit.
Yeah.
And then like you said, anybody who's on the cusp is now going to be able to qualify for that mortgage.
Exactly.
Right. And this affects both CMHC and regular mortgages as well, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So in your opinion, because you're so you're on the pulse with this stuff, Do you see this moving the market in a big way, or is this going to just be a small tweak that we won't really notice?
I think 2020 is going to be a great year for real estate. I think this is just going to push it along just a little bit better.
Okay, so if I can sort of summarize that, you think that there'll still be lots of condos sold. You still think people are going to qualify, and you think overall it's going to be a great year.
Oh, amazing! Yeah.
So if you're an agent and you're watching this and you have a question about mortgages, people should definitely reach out to you, right?
Oh, yes, for sure.
And you're always happy to help and give them advice?
For sure.
Amazing. Okay. Well, Casey, thank you so much for being here. This was actually really insightful. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot as well. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, this has been episode 20 of the Hersh Condos Digital Experience. Have an amazing day.
Thanks for watching the Hersh Condos Digital Experience. Stay tuned for more exciting content, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms.